Today we're going to learn about some more powerful tools in TypeScript, and we're going to learn about union types. We're going to learn about interfaces and type alias, enums, and generics. For each one of them, I am going to show you multiple examples and tell you what they are doing. Let's start off with union types. So I'm going to open up this file, TypeScript lesson_2.ts, and I'm going to create a variable here called password, and it's an arrow function. And what I want to do is I want to console log the password as well as the parameter that goes in here, and I'm going to write code there. Then I want to call this function, and I'm going to say, for example, 1, 2, 3. Now let's see what happens. So we say npx ts node TypeScript lesson_2.ts, and is going to give me an error because I did not specify this. So as we did before, we say, okay, what is it guessing? For now, it's going to guess any. So I'm just going to say this is of type any. Anything goes, which is not very good for TypeScript because it's not going to help us. But let's try it out. There, and it's going to give me the password, and it's going to give me the code. Now let's replace this. We might allow for a password to be a number, but we also might allow it to be a string. So we don't really know what it's going to be. Let's specify that so that we can say either, we can do it like this, number, or string, like we've done before. This is perfectly fine. But we want to extract this here. And we're going to say type. I'm going to make this a union type. So I'm going to say password field type. And I'm going to say this is, and I'm going to take these two things here, there, paste them in there. And then here, instead, I can put in password field type there. So a union type means a value can have more than one possible type. 1, 2 in this case. So here our password field type can be either a number or a string. Let's have a look at another example. This time I'm going to say I'm going to set a function about moving. So, and again, I'm going to say console.log, and now I'm going to say moving, and then we concatenate this with the direction. I'll say dir, and dir goes in here. There. Then I want to call the function like this, and I'm going to say left. As we see here, we can call this any, and when I call it now, it is saying moving left. So I can also say moving right, and it says moving right. Now, what if we say that we're going to create a type of this, because we can say it's only allowed to go left or right, because that means then that when we say straight, now this is not allowed then. Let's have a look. There, we're going to get an error, okay, because an argument of type straight is not assignable to the parameter of type left or right. In that case, I would have to add it there. Then it's all right. So let's say we're only moving left or right. Then what I need to do is, again, just like up here, I'm going to create a union type here, and I'm going to call this direction. You see how I capitalize these ones here, okay? And I'm going to say that equals this. There. And then this, copy this, and it goes in there. So now it works when I type in left, or when I type in right. Let me give you a third example. And here I'm going to say const pay, and again an arrow function. There. I'm going to say console.log, and I'm going to say payment methods, and I concatenate this with the method, and the method, this word, just like you see, there goes in there, code goes in there, so method goes in here as an argument, and for now I can say any. Then I can call this function like this, and I can say cash or card. So, cash. Let's check it out. Let me clear this first. Payment method, cash. And the other option I want is card. So again, card. So what I can do in here is I can say type payment equals, and I'm going to say cash or card, and then this here goes in here. Let's try it out. Great. What if I say cash, card, swish? Will that work? No, because I did not make that as a possibility for the payments. I hope that one is clear. Then let's move on to interfaces and type aliases. I'm going to comment this out. Union types. There. And let's continue with interfaces and type aliases. So I'm going to say what I want is I want a let's say I have a table with people in there and a table with customers, and I want to be able to work with those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an interface and I'm going to call this person there. And what I want from the person is basically I want just the first name and the age. So I'm going to say first name, and that is going to be a string, and I want the age, and that is a number. And then I want a customer database. So let's have a look. I'm going to say customer, and in the database I want the customer to have a customer number of type number, and I want an email of type string. Now what I can do is I can create a new type, and I can call this client, because the client is a customer and a person at the same time. So I can say person and customer. So the client is both of these. He's both the person and the interface. Now let's have a look how that works. So I'm going to say const, and I want to get some client data, and I'm going to create that arrow function again, and in here I can use this type here. So I'm going to say from the client, which is of type client. That's why we want the capital letter there to tell them, hey, well, that is connected. And what I can do now is I can console log, and I'm going to do the backticks here. There, I can say name, and now what I can do is there, I can say I take from the client. So from the client, I can choose now the age. You see here, age, customer number, so they are in alphabetical order, email, and first name, because they are connected. So I can use all four of these, just because I've merged them sort of together. So we want name, so first name, and I can have email, and then you can guess it already, client indeed, email there. So what I can do now is I can call this function like this, but what I do need to do in here is now enter all the data, because if I do just the first name, then why is this then underlined? It says argument of type, this here, is not assignable to parameter of type client. Property age is missing in type, but required in person. So age, so let's add the age then. We can say age 47. It's still red, so have a look. And then we're missing customer number. See, from type customer we're missing customer number and also email. So let's do that. We're going to say customer number and make it a 1, and the first customer, and email. Now let's have a look. Oh, we have an error, and what is going on right here? Let's have a look. Can you see it? Look here. This is expected on line 40. Okay, let's see. So type client, and I've got the equal sign in between here. There. Let's clear it and let's try it again. So now you see name Michiel, email michiel.vandegracht@sunsgarden.se. Good. So this end sign here, this one here, you can call it an intersection, which combines these two types together. So they intersect. Let's try another one. Actually, let's move on to Enums. I'm going to type this as interfaces and type aliases. And then I'm going to do that. And there. Let's have a look at enums. Now, an enum, also short for enumeration, is a way to define a list of named options. I'm gonna type an example where we have three possible errors. We have unauthorized, missing credentials, or we have an internal error. An enum is useful because instead of remembering the exact spelling of a string, we can use the enum's name. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to say enum, and I'm going to call this login error. And there's three options, I said. So unauthorized, and I'm going to say unauthorized, and we're going to copy this there. We have missing credentials equals missing credentials. And what do we say? Internal error. Internal error, which is then internal error. Good. Then what we can do is we can set up this new function, and I'm going to say print error message. There. Then we can do is with the error, we could console log the error. But we want to print the message based on what's happening. So we can say if the error is, and then we can pick the type here, where we're going to say login error. So if this is login error dot, and then we can choose one here because we've named them here. So if it is unauthorized, we do something here in this code block. So we can say, let me just take this one away. We can say console.log, you are not authorized. Else if error is, and then we can go here again, dot. We can say missing credentials. Then we can console log you are missing some credentials. There. Let's try this out now. So we say print error message, and we can send in login error dot unauthorized. Let's see what happens. It says here, you are not authorized. So it's typing something for me. Yeah? We're taking an enum. We're going to define them. So these are the options, 3 options with these messages. Then we say, if the error is unauthorized, send out this message. Otherwise, if the error is missing credentials, then console log, you are missing some credentials. I can also, I'm going to copy this one for a second there. And I'm going to take this one out for a second. Of course, I can also just say console.log here, and I can take, say there's an error, and I concatenate it with the error. So let's see what happens now. It says error, and it takes this string here, unauthorized. All right. Let's give you another example of an enum. And in this case, let's do a traffic light. So enum traffic light. And we have the options, 3 options here, red, yellow, or green. Okay. Then we can say const. There's some action on that traffic light. There. And we're going to say, light of type traffic light there. And now we can say if light, yeah, we're taking this parameter, is light action, sorry, I need to do it correctly, traffic light dot red. Then we can console log stop else if, and we do the same, if the light equals traffic light dot yellow, then we can say get ready and the last one red, yellow and green, we can say console.log go. There. Let's try it out. We call the method and we're going to say traffic light dot green. Let's see what happens. I'm just going to take that away there. So, oh, too much of course. There. Go. And red. Stop. One more. Let's have a look. don't need that. There. I am going to do days of the week. So enum, and then we can say day, and we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There. And then we can say, let's plan the day. Plan day. There's my function. We're going to take in the day of type day. And what we want now is if the day is a Saturday or Sunday, we want to console log it's weekend. Otherwise, it's not weekend, it's a work day. So let's say if the day is day dot Saturday, or the day is day dot Sunday, then console log it's weekend. Else console log it's a work day. Now when we say plan day, and we can take in day dot and we choose one, Monday, then what happens? Monday's a work day. What about Saturday? It's weekend. Good. So those are enums. They're basically like drop-down menus, right? And they only allow fixed choices. So use enums when the list of values is fixed. Otherwise you have no use of them. Let's do the last one here, and that is generics. Okay, so generic functions make functions, generics make functions reusable for many different types. Instead of writing separate versions for numbers or strings or objects, we use a placeholder. We type these, what do you call them? Let me look up the name. These sort of the arrows, arrow brackets, T. I'm going to look up the name. 1 second. Angle brackets. Angle brackets is what they're called. So let's have a look here. What we're going to do is I'm going to have an array. I'm going to call it array like this. And I'm going to add some numbers. I don't know, some random numbers. So, like this. And I'm actually going to make it a bit simpler here. I'm going to say const convert to array, like that. And I'm going to take an input, and I'm going to return the input there. Then I want to be able to say convert to array, and I want to take a number there. So what happens if I call this any? Let's see what happens then. So nothing really, did it? It did something funny here. Yeah. So this is not really helpful. It's not console logging anything. It's just returning the input. And here comes the syntax to put this into a generics. First of all, I need to get these angle brackets in front of it, and I put the capital T in there. So the generic sort of angle brackets capital T is a placeholder for a type. And the type we don't know yet. It will be decided later. And exactly that T, we're going to say we're going to use that same type, and we're also going to return it. So we don't know much yet. This whole thing is then sort of type T, and you can see here as well that the input is T, and the return is, or the return type is also T. So what can we do with this? So let's have a look here. If I'm going to console log this now, there, what happens? I get the number 2 back, but this time I did not type any, but it's not giving me an error either, and it's giving me the string 2 back. And I can also say true as a boolean, and it's going to give me true back. So everything works here because the type is decided later, and then the return is the same type. Okay, let's play around with something interesting here then. Let's do it here, and I want to convert this to an array, and I'm going, instead of taking one argument, I'm going to take 2. So I'm going to say input 1, and I'm going to say input 2, and I want back an array with input 1 and input 2. So then we know that this needs to be an array as well, because I want an array back. Let's try this out. Convert to array here, and I'm going to give an input. Maybe I have a dog as one argument and a cat as another argument. Let's see what happens then. And here I get it back as an array. Isn't that cool? What happens if I do, instead of 2 strings, I give it 2 numbers? I think you can guess it already. Exactly, it's an array with 2 numbers. Last but not least, let's make it a little trickier here. Let's get the index of something in the array. So I'm going to say const get index there, and what I want is I want a return, and I want, let's see here, I have my array. Actually, I'm going to put the array, once I put it in there, I'm going to do it as an argument here. So here I have an array, and remember this is still the same, T, the array T, and then I'm going to, it's going to be an array there, so I need to have this array, and the return, I'm going to look at the value, and I'm going to get the number back. I'm going to explain this in a second. Okay, so I'm going to say array dot find index, and in here for an item for the item is the value there. Console.log get index, and I'm going to type the array, and I'm going to say 10, 20, 40, and I want to know where is number 20. Let's just see if it works before I explain it. Yes. So 0, 1. Let's have a look. So we're getting as one argument an array here, and the type is an array here, and a value here. These are all numbers, right? It's a number, number, number array, number, and we're going to get back a number. So the T is a number. Now return, and then in the array we want to find the X index of the item, where the item is the value, and the value is this one here. So where in the array, which index has number 20, and then we, with an array, we count 0, 1, 2. So 20 is on 0 on place index number 1. There we go. Great. So to summarize this, we're going to use functions, sorry, generics I mean, when writing functions that should work with different data types. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. It's quite a long one. I think we're up to 37 minutes. Oy, oy, oy. So, well done everybody. Feel free to watch the video again and do some exercises.